Hey there, welcome to Something About Tabletop. This is going to be a discussion, a rambly type thing, a bit just about the whole role-playing versus power gaming, and just from what people have said. I'm not going to be pointing any fingers or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about it. Um, I mean, the big thing is that there's always been this dynamic in games. You got your role players and you got your power gamers, and then maybe there's an assortment of other players all in between. I guess like it's like the left and right wing kind of thing with politics. You get your power gamer, and then you got your role player. Your role player is a narrativist style. They kind of come to the game to tell a story, to be in a story, and the mechanics don't matter as so much to them at all. If some, most of the time, at least, very heavy narrativists that I've seen don't use mechanics at all, which is cool. And then we have the power gamers, where they are enemies, get more loot, make their powers more characters more powerful, make their powers better, earn experience, and ultimately have the coolest, most powerful, badass guy. That's them. They don't care for story. I mean, I am not from that side. I mean, I'm really not from the other side either. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm pretty much kind of in the center. I would guess what you would call a simulationist. Is I come to a game for a simulation, and so I want a bit of both. I want the mechanics to reflect what I'm doing, and I want the game and the story to tie it in to bring me into the world. It's all about the world for me, I guess. Um, I mean, that's me. I will say that there's a difference also. I'm just going to put this here between, at least to me, I'm not sure if it's a worldwide definition, but power gaming and min-maxing are two different things. Min-maxing is when you create a character the best to your ability, trying to minimize their weaknesses and maximize their effectiveness. Or just create the most one-sided character, which I would more call munchkinning. But power gaming is when you go into the game for the point of playing it like a game, winning, getting better, getting more powerful. I'm in max, but I also try to play the game, making decisions based on what my character would do. Of course, sometimes this does things like I might go, oh, I was going to play an elf, but now I'm going to play a human because it's slightly better for the mechanics. Maybe I didn't have the person's race set in stone anyway. I mean, that's not the best thing to do, being worried about numbers. It can be seen as, I guess, frivolous, but everyone plays the game for a different reason. And if you're looking down on people in general because they want to be mechanically good, then I'm going to be honest, you're kind of an asshole because everyone plays the game differently. And obviously, it's cool if you don't want power gamers in your game. Shit, I don't really want power gamers. I'll run a power gamer game, but I don't want power gaming players in my games too much. I don't mind a bit of power gaming, trying to make yourself more powerful, especially if it's a character's goal, it's fine. And in general, it's just not good to look down at anyone for any of their play. I mean, shit, I know some power gamers that do that too. Why did you select that? That's stupid. Why would you do it just for character? Blind fights are useless feat, all this kind of stuff brought on by options and things in role-playing games. And it causes elitism on both sides, where you got the power gamers looking down at the role players for not making effective characters, gumming up their game because they're basically failures because their character isn't the most optimized build. And then you have the role players looking down at the power gamers because they are getting caught up in the mechanics when really they could actually be experiencing the game the way that they see is the correct way. And there is no correct way to play the game. You play the game how you want to play the game. And just do what you want. Try not to look down on people. I mean, a lot of this is just human instinct. And what happens in large communities, like Tabletop One Shot Group, is that people start to separate themselves and you get elitism going on, which is they separate themselves from the others and form kind of an elitist band. Not there's really that much that happening really, but I can definitely see that happening the more heavily this division between the power gamers and the role players. Not that I know of any personally, any heavy power gamers. Definitely have some heavy role players, but most of them see the other side anyway. So, I mean, there's not that much of a problem. But, I mean, this kind of bagging down on people because, you don't get D&D now. It's changed. You are an idiot, basically. You need to learn how to play the game right. There is no playing the game right, either from a role-playing perspective or a power game perspective. Obviously, if you're in a power gamers game and you're playing an ineffective character and trying to role play, it's going to be shitty for you. It's going to be shitty for them, and it's vice versa. If you're in a role players game and you're power gaming, it's going to be shitty for you. It's going to be shitty for them, and that's where the whole social contract comes in. Where when you start a campaign, or not so much start a one shot, I guess start a one shot. Maybe what the one shot group should do, just to make sure that this stuff kind of doesn't happen again, is maybe go, this is going to be a more heavy role-playing style game. Only experienced role players allowed, not a power gamers kind of game. I mean, whatever. I mean, that can also cause problems, but if people are looking for a fighty kind of game or a role-play kind of game, they're going to be able to get it. And so far, you can generally tell just by the system that's getting played. Obviously, you're not going to get power gaming in Fate, and obviously, you're not going to get power gaming in Diceless. But there are people who still try, trust me, and that kind of stuff can be infuriating. And there's some systems that lend themselves more heavily towards power gaming, say like Shadowrun, say like, I guess D&D 3.5, just because the sheer amount of options you get, there's a stigma around 3.5 having a lot of power gamers. And I will admit, when I first started playing 3.5 and just played D&D in general, I was pretty much not a power gamer, but a heavy min-maxer. And I guess in my play, the stories that we had were so simple. It was get more powerful, defeat all the bad dudes. So my gameplay, I guess, was power gamey. But yeah, I guess I'll touch on this actually, which I've actually found, which is kind of interesting. I've kind of thought, which is a Shadowrun. Like I said, is kind of a power gamers kind of game. But from what I think of Shadowrun is that the people that are Shadowrunners tend to actually lend themselves to being kind of power gamers themselves. They're in this to get more powerful, to get more money, and they will do anything they can to do it because they're simply a Shadowrunner. I mean, Shadowrunners do all kinds of fucked up, kill people, murder, not rape, but you know what I mean, just doing whatever they can, killing people that are environmental activists, killing people without unwanted regard for their family, their friends, completely not caring about them. And it actually lends itself to that, but there's a lot of role play with it as well. I mean, in any game can be played anyway, and in my opinion, you kind of need a balance. I guess 100% roleplay game works and 100% power game works. I lend myself to a bit of both, in the fact that I don't want to be judged if I min-max my character, but at the same time, I'm less and less caring about it. I guess there is this natural growth, at least in my opinion, towards going more towards roleplay, and that's where people think that maybe power gamers are lesser, because you're moving towards more liking roleplay more, because to be honest, it is more fun. I mean, now and again, it is good to have a meat grinder. It is good to have a massive dungeon, not care about your characters, run through, murder shit, solve puzzles. It's a lot of fun. But, I mean, everyone starts to gravitate as they get older or whatever towards role-playing, immersing themselves in a character, not really caring give two shits about the mechanics, just as long as they don't get in the way and they're immersive enough. So there's that. So I can't really think too much about it other than the synopsis of, like, try not to fall into pit traps like elitism on both sides of the spectrum, and try not to think yourself above of anyone as a human. Just be a decent person when playing role-playing games. Don't insult people for either being a role player or either being anything. Just, But once again, there's this whole social contract thing, which the idea at first was kind of weird to me, but it kind of makes sense when in this regard, you have to know what kind of game you're getting at with people. And if someone comes into a game who doesn't want to role play, but everyone else wants to role play, then we get some problems. But don't just keep them out of the game. Talk to them. And maybe the reason they're not role playing is because they don't know how to. Maybe they're scared. I mean, meeting random people online or meeting random people in real life and role playing is very, very difficult. Role playing in general just in general can be very nerve wracking, even with people that they know, putting on a funny voice. But I've found as soon as one person role plays, everyone role plays. And it can be, like I said, something simple like a voice, just mannerisms. I have some players that are very good at role playing their characters' mannerisms, not necessarily putting on a voice, not necessarily talking from the character's perspective, but always making decisions what their character would do and only thinking of that at the detriment of the party or others. But of course, forwarding the story. Anyway, I mean, there's a lot of other discussions you can have with this. Just put a comment below, a video response. I don't care. And see you later. Thanks for watching Something About Tabletop.